all the things that stand out that I might not have captured on video during my time here. It's been a great time just walking around the streets. Maybe most of you don't like to walk the streets like I do, but back in Houston, I don't walk the streets like I do here. Houston is not it's not a walkable city. Let's not sugarcoat it. Houston is not a walkable city. Taipei, Kaohsiung really is. The thing I like a lot about here is I can take off on any street in this area and each day would be a new adventure. For example, just the other day, I got off on the Green Line and I was about an hour away from my hotel. I could have easily taken the Green Line to the Orange Line and been just a few blocks away from my hotel, but I wanted to get out and just walk around. I know these things don't happen often, so I got off on the Green Line and just started walking, pulled out the Google Maps and headed toward the hotel, an hour away. The streets in the area I got off on were pretty narrow, very little sidewalks, if any. And as I got closer and closer to the hotel, the sidewalks got wider and wider. But it was great. I just loved being there. I didn't know what I was going to see. And what I saw were people everywhere working, making a living, at their shops on the street level, cooking, doing all kinds of things. It was just great seeing the vibrancy of this city. And this is Kaohsiung. I mean, you can imagine what it's like in Taipei, just seeing people virtually everywhere. There's a lot of things that I'm really going to remember, well, a lot of little things, I guess you could say. Like coming back the other day to the hotel, there was a woman with a broom out in front of, it might have been an office building or something, and just sweeping up one leaf with her broom. And that really struck me as like, I've talked about it before about how clean this city is, but for someone to take the time to sweep up one leaf that could have just blown away 10 seconds later, it really made an impression on me. And then the next day, as I was going to Lotus Pond, I walked by a school, and it was probably about 7:30 in the morning, maybe 8 o'clock. There were kids in the schoolyard sweeping up the area, making it clean for the school day, and that was really, really cool to see. And as I mentioned in that video, that's something I would never ever see in Houston that I'm aware of. And I work for a school system. I've never seen the kids. I'm sure they were told to do it. I don't know how it works here, but I don't think they just grab a broom and start sweeping. But that's just part of the culture of that school that I passed, and I'm sure it's like that at some of the other schools here, and it's not that way back in the States. That's not necessarily a good thing, but I think it leads to the culture of people that grow up here, and that's what they do, and that's why these cities are as clean as they are. And I think people take a lot more pride in where they live at here. I think one of the regrets I have is not being able to speak the language. And that's on me. I've been married to a Taiwanese woman for over 20 years, so should I have learned it, or at least something? Probably, but I never took the time to do it because I didn't know how often I would come back to Taiwan, and I didn't know I would have extended stays like this where I would interact with people. So I wish I would know the language where I could talk to the people here. I would like to put them on camera, but I'm sure many people do know English, but I have no way of knowing that. I would have loved to have interacted more. For example, there's a noodle shop right next to me, and it's very good. I've had the best fried rice there, but there were men at the front making the dumplings, and I would have loved to have interacted with them, got them on camera, but I didn't know how to ask. I didn't want to interrupt them. They may have been fine with it because I'm sure a lot of these places are used to tourists coming here and documenting them doing things like that. But I wish I would have been able to communicate better and have done something like that. I would have really liked to have captured that on camera. So what do you know, just moments later after recording that part, I came across a woman making dumplings on the street, and I asked her if it would be okay if I shot her doing her job, and she was great about it. So I'm glad I did it. It looked pretty good. See, this is what I really like doing, taking one of these back roads, or maybe you call it an alley, just behind the homes, where most of the traffic doesn't go. It's just calm and peaceful and really nice looking. You know, I think I've said this before, but I really wish people from our country or even my city could just spend a week here in a country like Taiwan, a city like Taipei, a city like Kaohsiung, just to really get a feel on how other people do things. You know, everything from public transportation, how it can be done, how maybe it should be done, to how you treat other people. It just seems like people treat each other better over here. And I'm sure Taiwan has problems just like every country does in their own way. But, you know, when you see like just walking around, you see like the elderly, like I've seen even on Monkey Mountain the other day, there were women and men older than me walking up the hill like it was nothing. And it seems like people get out more here, experience things like that. And maybe, I'm not sure what the longevity numbers are here. Maybe people live longer here because of that. Maybe there's something more to, because people walk around more, that they stay in shape longer. I've seen so many parks where I've seen people exercising, older people exercising, walking around, and you know, hiking is so big here. Of course, we have hiking in the States. Maybe it's just more prevalent here. I don't know. I was going to sit in my room until it was time to take a cab to the high-speed rail, but I said, I've got to get out one last time and really walk the streets before that time, because I had a couple hours to kill, so that's what I'm doing. I wanted to really soak it in. I really, really love walking here. I put in so many steps. I think yesterday was a record for me, 27,000 steps. I've never, that I can remember, walked that far in a day. Were my feet sore at the end of the day? Oh, heck yes, yes, very sore. But I'm so glad I did it. Can you get sensory overload from all the hustle and bustle, the cars and scooters? Sure. But that's why they have such great places you can escape to. A lot of greenery, mountains, parks. Got the best of both worlds here. But I like all the hustle and bustle. And I've also gotten a lot better at timing out how long it's going to take me to get across one of these intersections. I'm getting pretty good at that. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me and motivates me. And if you are subscribed, thank you so much for all of you that have been here with me on these journeys. And don't unsubscribe when I don't put out videos, because I'll be back for sure. You want to be subscribed to know when I put out more videos. At least I hope you do. So, all right. Thanks so much for watching, guys. And I'll talk to you again real soon.